So, what do we do now? Okay, so we have to find the plans for Dr. Fred's super battery. Um, he's a bit of a mental mess, and he can't see that his plans are actually right here, right in front of him. Well, right where they should be. So that's a question I ask a lot in the Maniac Mansion game. How do you get over there? So, for those of you that have never played Day of the Tentacle before, um, what's just happened is that the object has been flushed through time, right? And this is an important mechanic because um, what you'll end up doing in order to, reduce backtracking is that you will end up flushing, you will end up dropping these items through time. So the idea behind this is that your character, like one of your characters, in one time period will have access to something that the other characters don't. And so the way of getting the object over to these characters is to flush them through time. And once you discover this, what you can do is that you can actually pick up an item and you can drag and drop it over to a character's avatar to send it directly to them. And that way, when you need to get an item to a character, they don't have to keep going back to the chronodron. So I'll demonstrate that in a few moments, but yeah, we'll just wait for this cutscene to end. Yep. Heavy metal, dude. So what we'll do is that we'll focus on playing Bernard for now. Yeah, so just for the sake of efficiency here, we'll focus on playing Bernard for the moment. Because once we get his side of the story done, we'll be able to get through all the other characters, within, like, in a very breezy way, I should say. But, but yeah, so let's go to the kitchen. Actually, there is something we're missing. Let me see if I can bring up the inventory. Oh, I've got the textbook, the flyer, and the dime. Now we need to get this help wanted sign. This is going to be useful for Hagi's part. Alrighty. So, so what's happened with the mansion since the storyline of the first Maniac Mansion game is that the mansion itself has actually become a hotel of sorts. It's actually more of a bed and breakfast from the looks of it. So it hasn't got any of the strange horrors that are lurking in it, like in the first game. But we need to get this chattering teeth. See if we can get. And that's another thing that happens throughout this game. Every time, like not every time, but a lot of the times when you're going through a different room, you'll see a newspaper clipping of shocking world events that are happening as a result of Purple Tentacle coming to power. Now, what we have to do with this chattering teeth is that we have to actually go and chase it into the grating. This is actually useful for for a part that comes later in the story where we have to meet George Washington, and we end up having to steal his teeth from him and replace it with a set of fake chattering teeth. Now I have to take this fork here, and this is the microwave, which is probably one of Maniac Mansion's most infamous moments. If you know that game, then I'm sure that you're all familiar with the hamster trick where you put the hamster in the microwave and, make it blow up. You grab the funnel. Alright. So that's the first floor covered for now. We have to come back to it later. Hold on. Just having a look at what we've got. So we'll need to flush this sign over to Hoagie. And that's the chronogon mechanic that I was demonstrating earlier. So yeah, if we switch over to Hoagie now, we can see that he's got this help. Hold on, we can see that he's got this help wanted sign. Switch back to Bernard. Actually, there is something that we need to do. So what we do need to do is that we actually need to knock Dr. Fred out with some coffee. Decaf, actually. So part of the wider plot of the game is that the Edison family, has been offered a contract for the original Maniac Mansion game and the subsequent TV series that was based off it, but for one reason or another, Dr. Fred never signed it properly, so their family has never obtained the royalties, and it's kept locked away in this safe that's in his office. So what we end up having to do is that we end up having to go to the video surveillance system, slow down the video recording, actually record Dr. Fred opening the safe, entering the combination and opening the safe, and then subsequently panicking, and we have to memorize the combination. But yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful. Now we go get this baby gone. And I think we've got enough fun for now. I think we should switch over to Hoagie. So alright, so we're playing as Hoagie now, and he's actually landed in the colonial times where the Constitution is just on the cusp of being written. So the Edisons are actually housing George Washington and his supporters. So let's go. Hold on. There is something in the mailbox we have to get. It's actually a letter that we will need to send to Bernard later on. I won't do it just now. actually, what am I doing here? So, yeah, this is Dead Cousin Ted. There's a bit of a recurring gag with him in this game in that he is a member of the Edison family, but he's a mummy, and the characters talk to him as if he's alive, but um, you know, he never gives any response because obviously he is dead. Um, he was also featured in Maniac Mansion in one of the more infamous parts of the game, where you open up the shower and right next to him is a message that says, "For a good time, call Edna," and then there's like a phone number written there for you to call Nurse Edna on, and she's got some interestingly colourful things to say, and yeah, and there is Mr. President himself, George Washington. Let's have a chat with him. Whoa, you like George Washington? Whoa. I'm a big fan of education. Yeah. So there's a whole puzzle in this game, like a subplot, I guess, where Hoagie decides to, um, like Hoagie realizes that because Levine is trapped up in a tree 400 years in the future, um, this tree, like this tree that we're seeing outside the window, is the tree that Laverne needs to be rescued from. And so you have to make it look like a cherry tree in order to convince George Washington to cut it down and subsequently free Laverne in the future. Okay. Yeah, so we'll leave him for the moment. But yeah, let's go. And so we need to go into the kitchen. There is an oil bottle and spaghetti. Let's open the pantry. Okay, we can't open it. But there is also this bucket here. And we also need this brush. This is for very late in the game. For one of the final puzzles involving Hoagie. Yeah, we have to actually clean up the station wagon. But more on that later. So now we want to go down to this grandfather clock. And we'll be meeting Fred Edison's great-great-grandfather, Red Edison. Mhm. So what we'll have to do with Fred Edison is that we have to convince him to invent Dr. Fred's proposed super battery. Um, and to do that, we'll actually need a combination of three things. It's oil, vinegar, and gold. We've already got the oil. We will later need to get the wine, and then we'll have to also get gold. that I believe is from the wheel that's out in the near the chimney. So um, first things first, though, we actually need to get this left-handed hammer. Yeah, so we'll need that left-handed hammer to complete Bernard's side of the story. So basically, Red Edison's sons are artists, and one of them uses a right-handed hammer, right, to craft sculptures. And what we have to do is switch the hammers over. And what this will do is that this will change the position of a sculpture. See, the other twin, they're actually twins. The other twin is actually a model. So what happens is that when you switch the hammers, the sculptor gets depressed about his abilities, and the twin offers to take over. And this resolves a problem in Bernard's part of the story, where Nurse Edna is monitoring the security system, and there is the same statue 200 years later is sitting like it's actually standing in the doorway. And what you need to do is that by by changing the hammer, the position of the statue changes, and it will allow you to push Edna down the staircase. uh, yes. Yeah. So hang on. Let's switch. Hang on. Now watch this. It's gonna miss, miss, miss. So, so the character on the right is the model that is going to have the statue changed. So these two will switch their position and ultimately change the outcome of the future. So we'll see the outcome of this in a few seconds. There's Edna there, and we can see the new statue coming in, and she stares in amazement.